Hello and welcome back to another video. This clip, the intro is sort of being recorded after the clips that I'm going to show you now after I do the intro. But I didn't get time to do the intro at the start, so I have to do it now. So basically what we're doing today, or what we've already done today, is we let out the cows and calves into this sort of runway here. That gate right there goes across that gap there, and then they have access to that pen there, and they have that little runway. And basically we just put them out there today to sort of civilize them, get all the giddiness out of them, the jumpiness out of them, basically getting them used of being outside. Now I did mention that we usually make a makeshift pen out of these, basically out there. Well, this one isn't in the best of shapes, but you can see the good ones there. But we make a makeshift pen out of these here. So you have the edge of one of them starts at the edge of this gate here, and then it ends at the edge of that gate over there. So you'll have two of them ones going this way, and then you'll have another two or three going that way, and then obviously two going that way to meet up at the edge of that gate over there. And then we do take this gate down and get rid of it. And then when those panels are put up, here, we do run a line of electric tape inside the little sort of mesh panels, and then we hook up a battery, electric fence battery to it, and then we let them out then, and they can roam freely out here, and then they can also get back inside if they wish. But we didn't get time to put up this makeshift pen this year because we were busy with other stuff. Fencing was one of the stuff we were really busy at this year, so we didn't have time to put the pen up here. So we just basically put the cows and calves basically out in that runway there to civilize them, and just to get them used to being outside and get all the giddiness and jumpiness out of them. And we have an electric fence basically put up there as well. So we basically just used that as an alternative this year, because we couldn't make the pen up here and get them used to being outside and get the calves used to the electric tape. But if I have a clip of it, I think I have a clip of it on my phone, but if I have a clip of it anyways, and if I can find it, and if I remember to put it into it in this video while I'm editing it, then I will throw a clip of it in and basically show you what I mean about the setup we do have here every other year. So we basically just let them out here alternatively. That gate goes across there. We had the battery electric fence hooked up to that electric tape there, and then the cows and calves were running up and down the passageway there. The calves were touching the electric tape, obviously getting a little bit of shock off it, and then they were getting used to it. And then we left the cows and the calves out here for about an hour, and then we hunted the cows and calves back up into their pens up there. And then we left the calves inside and then brought the cows out on their own, and we let the cows out into the grass there. And as you can see, there's an electric sort of tape going the whole way across there. So that tape is connected to the mains. There's an old wire along the ditch there, an electric wire along the ditch there, which is connected to the mains. And that's what that tape going across there is connected to. That tape just there is connected to a wire along the ditch there that's connected to the mains, and that's basically how that tape there is getting its current. So we just put the cows out in the field on their own, and they basically done a bit of skipping, jumping and running about for a minute, and then they put their heads down and started eating. And then we put up the cows and we let out the weanling heifers, and again that gate was going that way, and the weanling heifers had this runway here, and they had obviously that pen in there. So we let the cows and calves out first in the runway, and then we brought the calves back up and let the cows out into the field, and then we brought the cows back up and got the weanling heifers and we let them have a roam out there. And that's basically the next couple of clips that I'm going to show you now is just clips I've gotten of the cows and the calves and the weanling heifers basically out here, civilizing them, getting all the giddiness out of them and getting them just ready for letting out onto grass, because as I'm recording this video it's the 12th of May, so tomorrow on the 13th of May we're going letting out the weanling heifers and we're going letting out the cows and calves. So put it up in shape now, Dan. Okay, so it's the next day. It's the 13th of May, and we are getting prepared to let these guys out. The uncle has our cattle trailer, so the owl man and the brother is gone picking it up, and I'm left just to make sure that these are okay, and obviously the rest are okay, and all that. You also might have seen that just there's like some sort of substance on their heads. That's because on the 1st of May, I wasn't around. There's another one there. Oh, he's gone. The black one has the same. But on the 1st of May, these guys, any of them that had horns were dehorned. We had a person in where he just gets one of his wire ropes and cuts off the horns, leaves them with the stubs, and then he gets his sort of iron yoke and burns the rest of it out. But I wasn't around when he was doing that. I was gone out doing a tractor run, so that's they got dehorned, and obviously he put the spray on them and all that, but we put this sort of tar on their heads where the horns were, and that basically gives a nice sort of seal and a bit of protection from the flies and insects when they're let out, because the insects and flies could still find a hole in the gap where they were dehorned and get into their head and do a bit of damage. So that's basically like tar stuff. It's black like tar. We basically rubbed it on their heads, the horns, and that offers a bit of a protection. You can also see that just there's a clear tag behind their other tags. The other one is there. Those tags, I think they let off a scent, and that prevents flies from hovering and landing on their heads and all that. So it basically gets rid of the flies around their heads. That's what those tags are for. But we had these guys out here yesterday, getting their giddiness out of them. We have them out again, and we also have spray paint on them, as you can see. Just that if they do manage to get out of the field, which I don't think they will, because we spent weeks upon weeks fencing every field we have, making sure that it's all safe and sound and that no cattle can get out. But even if they do manage to get out, if they find a sort of a bad spot, we spray painted sort of orange paint on their backs, so if this mixed with another farmer's cattle, we'll know which cattle are ours. And we also keep records of which cows or heifers are in what field. So these guys are going for fields that we sort of call the field hill. It's basically beside our silage field, so we basically put down the name of the field and then we'll know what field it is. And then we wrote down their tag numbers because we ran them through the crush. We used the head scoop to put their fly tags in, and we also used the head scoop to put the tar on their horns as well. But we had them in that pen over there, and we ran them through the chute. We done whatever needed to be done on them, and then we ran them back down here. And we're just waiting now for the cattle trailer to come, and these guys will be let out. But yes, as I was saying, we keep records of what fields they were in, and we took down all their tag numbers. We also spray painted their backs, so even if they did manage to get out and go into another farmer's field, we know by one, the spray paint on their back, and two, because we kept records of their tag numbers as well, and which of them were in what field. So if they did get out, we can look for the paint, or we can get them in some sort of pen and look for their tag numbers, and we know then which heifers are ours and which ones aren't. Try and get a closer look at the tar in the side of their heads. You can see it there, and you can also see that clear tag for the flies as well. But anyways, I'll wait and make sure these are okay, and once the trailer arrives we'll be loading them up and finally letting them out onto some grass. Well, they all seem to have calmed down, which is good to see. So there should be 7 there. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, they're all there. So we have, I don't know if you can see it right, but there's a tape basically splitting the field in half. So we're only giving them half the field at the moment. Just so that they can settle down, so because there's a bad corner basically just up there that we'd done a bit of patching work on it, but it wouldn't be proper sort of fencing. So we just put electric tape up going all the way along there, halving the field in half, just so that they can have a couple of days to a week in one half, and once they're well used to being outside and stuff, we'll probably take down the tape and let them have the whole field. But there's also a trough just where they're heading to, which is where that's where they're heading to. They seen me and they probably thought that they're getting mail, but I'm just here to make sure that they're still all in the field. But they got a bucket of mail when we let them out. You can see the trough sort of just there. So we are going feeding them mail. Anyways, they seem happy out. I might as well head back now and start another job. Alright, so it's the 15th of May. We have the cows and the calves let out into this little paddock again. So right now, these are going to be staying out here for one night. We have tie-ins on the calves' legs. I will show you that in a moment. But we'll bring them in tomorrow morning. We'll take the tie-ins off them, and then we're going to let them down to that field down there. And that's where they'll stay for about 3 weeks to 4 weeks. And then we'll move them to the back of our own house so we can keep an eye on them more easily. And if any of them come a bulling, there's an old sort of little pen basically in the fields that we can put them into and AI them. So that's them out properly. So hopefully, because they were down here for a week with that gate closed across this way, they were running up and down, getting used to being outside, getting the giddiness out of them, and getting used to the electric tape. So the whole field is surrounded by electric tape now. So hopefully, when they see that, they'll be like, I'm not going touching that anymore. And as you can see, this calf is sort of moving in a very weird place, but you can kind of just about see the tie-ins on his legs. You can kind of see the tie-in on his legs, and all the calves have that on them. So basically, we basically give them a week or two outside to get used to being outside and the electric tape, and then when we let them out, we just tie sort of tie-ins on their legs. As you can see, it's a rope on his leg. That basically sort of restricts their movement. They're not able to run like bullets when they get let out, because just behind that ditch all along there is a main road. So if we didn't have tie-ins on their legs, they would run down the field like bullets. The electric fence that we were trying to train them onto for a week suddenly becomes invisible because they're gone AWOL, and they'll just run straight through it, and they'll run straight onto the main road, which is obviously dangerous for both the calf and the road users. So this is basically like phase 2 of getting the calves used to being outside. Obviously phase 1 was them in a small pen, running up and down, getting used to the fence. Phase 2 is being out in a small section of grass with tie-ins on their legs so they don't be like sort of crazy and go AWOL. And phase 3 is we take the tie-ins off their legs and we let them all out into the bigger field for a couple of weeks anyways. So come tomorrow morning, we'll put the cows up and the calves, then we'll separate the cows and the calves, and we'll put the calves out in a own pen separately up in the shed there, and we'll just put them in a crush and take the tie-ins off them. Basically what we done this morning was we starved. When we're coming down feeding them, we didn't feed the cows any silage. We gave them their dairy nuts as usual, but we didn't give them any silage. Once they ate their dairy nuts, we put the cows down in the little runway there while we were putting the tines on the calves. Once the tines were on all the calves, we let the calves down with the cows, and then we basically opened the gate and let them run. And I was literally behind the fence over there, the brother was behind the fence there, and the old man was behind the electric tape over there. So even if they did go a bit AWOL, we could if we seen them running towards the tape, there was a man there to wave the stick and shout and all that at them, basically to make them stop running so they don't actually run through the tape itself. But when we let them out, when we literally opened the gate, they were running and jumping for literally just a couple of seconds. And then the cows and some of the calves put their heads down and started eating the grass. So, you know, a bit of civilization to get them back used to being outside and getting the calves used to the tape. And then basically starving the cattle for the morning, not giving them anything to eat. They'll go out on grass and they'll put their head straight down, because if the cows don't go AWOL, the calves are less likely to go AWOL as well. But as you can see there, they're all happy out eating grass. So it's about time that they were let out, and finally they are let out. So we have the 6 cows and calves put out here. We have the wailing heifers put out. The only things left to put out is the 2 cows and the 2 calves that were born basically a month ago. These guys are 3 bullocks. He was with the heifers when the heifers were in here, because he was the first one clammed. He was the only one big enough at the time to clam, so we clammed them. These guys we clammed about 2 weeks ago, because they're basically the smallest out of these lot here, because he was with the heifers in here. Those 2, when they were bulls, they were left in here with the bulls. So we basically took the 2 smallest ones out of them, which are these 2 here. We got them clammed, we got them dehorned as well. And then we left the bigger of the bulls left here. And hopefully tomorrow during Mart Day, we can get these sold. Any ones that we don't sell, we'll just clam them and put them along with these. Now there's this whole pen is being sold. So the 2 cows, she's a cow, the goldy one, and that white one at the back is a cow. The one with the white face and that black ones are heifers. None of them have been a bulling yet, and the black one and that red one has yolks in their nose because they started sucking the cows, and obviously that's just going to be a nightmare to keep. Or that's going to be a nightmare for us if we do keep them. So we decided to sell the whole 4 of them, the whole lot. So we're not keeping them at all. Hopefully all of them will be sold. And when the 6 cows and the 6 cows go out to the bigger field, they're down basically in the garden is what we call it. But they're just down there in the garden. So come tomorrow when we bring them in, take the tines off the calves' legs and put them down into the bigger field. We let these 2 cows and calves basically down in that runway. So these 2 cows and those 2 calves, when we let them down the field, we let these 2 cows and calves down this runway just to get the calves used to the electric tape, and then we'll put the tines on their legs and we'll let them out there for a day, leave them outside for a day just like what we're doing with them, and then we'll bring them up again and take the tines off their legs. And I'm pretty sure then we'll be putting them along. We'll be putting the 2 cows and calves along with them when they're going over across to our own house, behind the field behind our own house. So they might stay there for the length of time that they are in the other field. So the only things left to do is sell those 3 bulls. Hopefully we can get the 3 of them sold. Get those 2 cows and 2 heifers sold. Hopefully we can sell all them. And then it's to let these 3 bullocks out, and then those 2, and let the 2 cows and calves out. And that's basically the slatted shed, the cow shed, emptied at long last, because it's the middle of May. It's about time they should be out by now. But obviously the weather was sort of on and off. We had a lot of fencing to do, so we couldn't really let them out. It was a lot of work to be done, and it was to get the time to do the fencing and all that. So the fencing is now done, and we are starting to get them out, so thank God for that. And they're finally out in their fields that they're going to be staying in for the next couple of weeks. They'll stay in this field for a while, although there is a load of grass there, so they could probably stay there for the majority of the time they'll be out on grass, so they could stay there until near enough the time that they'll be put back into the house. But we do have to put them over across the road in the next 2 or 3 weeks behind our own house, because there's a pen in that field, so when they come a bulling, all we have to do is put them into that pen, and there's also a crush there, and we can call the AI and get them all AI'd if they do come a bulling. We have a fence going the whole way across down to that wood, all the way up to the corner there. So we're basically just curtailed them into one half of the field. There's behind the fence, there's a load of grass. This side of the fence, there's a load of grass as well. So that one half of the field probably will do them 2 or 3 weeks anyways. But I don't want to disturb them too much, because they're all lying down, relaxing, sunbathing in the sun. But they're all happy out, so they are finally out, so they're all happy out. We have the Wainlin bullocks in the civilizing pen, because tomorrow, the 17th of May, during the evening, we're going to be letting them out. So they'll be out in the civilizing pen today, the 15th of May, until evening time. And then tomorrow they'll probably be out in the civilizing pen the whole day, and then come evening we'll probably let them out as well. And then that's more or less the whole cattle let out then, the whole shed. But we took those cows and calves were basically in the garden just over the hedge there, and the calves had tie-ins on their legs, as you might have seen in the couple of minutes ago. But we brought them in this morning. We took the tie-ins off their legs. We threw up that fence there just to split the field in half, because there's a lot of grass there for them to be roaming around in the full field. You can clearly see there that he doesn't have any tie-ins on his leg anymore, so we have them removed and he can move more freely now. But they spent all of yesterday out in the garden with the cows with their tie-ins on their legs, so they couldn't go AWOL and run like bullets, and then the electric fence suddenly becomes invisible to them. It's non-existent when they go AWOL, and they'll just run straight through it and into the next parish. So that's why we put the tie-ins on their legs. And as you know, they're basically trained and used to being outside. They're used to the electric fence, so they're not going to go near it or anything like that. But that's the Wainlin heifers put out. That's the cows and calves put out. The only ones that have left to be put out is the 2 cows and 2 calves that gave birth in April last month. They have to be put out. They have to be put out in the civilizing pen first, and then we'll be putting tie-ins on those calves. But as I mentioned, the Wainlin bullocks are out in the civilizing pen now, just basically over there across the hedge. So they're being civilized, and we'll be letting them out tomorrow evening. And then it's just the 2 cows and 2 calves, and that's the whole shed out. But as you can clearly see there, the cows and calves are all happy out that they're out on grass. I'm happy out that they're out on grass, and that's basically the main thing, really, isn't it? So that is going to be the end of today's video. If you enjoyed it, please do give the video a like. If you're watching this video and you're not subscribed, please do subscribe. It's only 1 click away. And when you do subscribe, if you do subscribe, hopefully you do, hit the bell notification icon to be notified of every future video I upload. Don't forget to check out my merch. The link to that will be in the description. And check out the gate mate as well. Check out the gate mate as well. The link to that will be in the description as well. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video very soon. Take care.